Well, it's Friday, and you all know what that means. So today we're only going to be doing two reviews. This one features, of course, AEW Rampage. We have some interesting matches taking place. Anna Jay takes on Red Velvet. We even have Orange Cassidy teaming up with Ross and Marshall Von Erich. The Von Erichs taking on the former members of the Jericho Appreciation Society and plenty more. But we also going to find out who levels up on this latest episode of NXT Level Up. Then we cap it up with some news updates to tell what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, any wrestlers that have been signed or departing from their promotions, any injured wrestlers, the whole enchilada. So let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Jared here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to get hands on. If I'm unable to do any more news updates on this episode, I can put it on a separate video as well and other cool stuff as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So just click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews on this channel and other cool stuff. But if you also like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment down below on the description. So, let's begin with AEW Rampage. Now, as you know, we are in Dallas, Texas. This is Von Erich country. That's right. Orange Cassidy teams up with Ross and Marshall Von Erich, the sons of the legendary Kevin Von Erich. Ironically, we're not that far off from the premiere of the Iron Claw, which is the film that we definitely going to see. I will be talking about that film when I see it, after I see it, because I'm not going to be able to see it when it comes out, but I will wait a couple of days after that. But I'll let you guys know. So anyway, they team up to take on Matt Menard, um, Angela Parker, and Hager. Now, keep in mind, Orange Cassidy's buddy Danhausen has uh, Jake Hager's hat, and he's been livid ever since then. But however, they have the contempt with the proud of the Texas family, of course, of Von Erichs. I have to say it was a pretty fun match. Not to mention, now I know some of you say, can AEW sign them? I mean, yeah, I mean they would. I mean they are a well-established tag team, and of course, family is legendary, of course. So I have to say it was a pretty good one. However, of course, they had to try to separate Orange Cassidy away from the Von Erichs, but it was of course Marshall Von Erich who picked up the win when he applied a schoolboy on Parker. However, Hager decided to retaliate, taking out everyone. Apparently, Danhausen showed up to give a helping hand. Then he tries to curse them, but it did not do any good for him until the matriarch of the current Von Erich family, Kevin Von Erich, decided to help out his sons to give an iron claw to Jake Hager. So I have to say, it ends very well right there, seeing Kevin Von Erich. So I can't wait to see what else these Von Erich guys are gonna do soon. Now, Mark Briscoe, as you know, he is not too bothered with the fact that he is out of the tournament. Well, he still is wrestling, even though he cannot progress. He feels that right now he's in a minor league. So he kind of put a very interesting analogy. you got to remember, he's always been a tag team specialist with his brother, unlike Jay, who is very specialized in that. So he saw that, and of course, he bumps into Jay Lethal and, of course, the Dickwads. That's right. So basically, he tells him that he's still hanging around, but it turns out that these two will meet each other again this coming week. So we're going to see who will probably walk away with some points on this one. Now, our next match, we have, of course, members of Don Callis' family, Hobbs and Fletcher taking on Hunter Gray and um, Paul Titan. But I can tell you that this match ended with the most dangerous slam by Hobbs onto Titan to pick up the win. However, Don Callis, as you know, he likes to say things that he thinks are honestly true. Now, Jericho was in the commentary section. He was told by Tony Khan to control his composure. And of course, one of the things is he cannot be in a position where he may lose an opportunity of the tag team titles. So Don Callis goes out saying that the only reason he and Kenny ended up teaming up is because Chris Jericho is afraid of him. I think Jericho thinks of him like, you talk a lot of these nonsense. Like he thinks he's running from him. But we'll see what happens until then. Now, Ruby Soho, as you know, she hasn't been in a good time in herself. Basically, as you know, she has suffered a lot of losses ever since then. However, she feels that, Saraya has been a problem, even though Saraya thinks the same thing about her, too. So, most likely, we will see Ruby Soho step away from that environment with Saraya. Now, our next match, we have Anna Jay taking on Red Velvet. Now, Excalibur pointed out a very interesting point. This is not the first time these two ladies have bumped into each other. This happened during their daily place where Red Velvet lost to Anna Jay. This is when Anna Jay was part of the how do I say, of the Dark Order at the time. But however, will history repeat itself? That's a good question. Things would have been differently if it wasn't for the appearance of Daddy Magic. Even Jericho never understood why did he showed up. I think Jericho wanted to see Anna Jay grow up more without the help of anybody, and he probably sees that she would have done that, but it didn't. So yeah, so apparently Anna Jay finished off Red Velvet with the Queen's Slayer, and that's how it goes. Now, our main event is a long awaited trios match. Action Andretti and Top Flight taking on Commander, El Hijo de Vikingo, and Penta El Cero Miedo. I have to say, what an FM match. I have to say, awesome. I love the high spots that they normally do on this type. I mean, me, a guy who grew up with Lucha Libre back when I was a kid, I was amazed. And I want to confess to you guys, ever since I was a kid, I always thought about being a luchador, but due to my weight, it was impossible, and my knees. So basically, I did not have the stamina for it, but I continue to support pro wrestling no matter what. But it was fantastic. But the obvious question it tells, who the hell was going to walk away with the win? That it was always the question. But it was Dante Martin who picked up a fantastic win when he spiked Commander 1, 2, 3. It was done. And there is a good compelling argument from Tony Schiavone. These guys could basically take on the former members of the JAS, and of course, possibly pursued for the um, trios titles. That is something we definitely could see down the line. So only time will tell what Top Flight and Action Andretti will do from here on out. So I think that's pretty much it with AEW. I believe it's time for NXT Level Up. Okay, who levels up on this latest episode of NXT Level Up? Let's find out. Our first match, we have Scripps versus Big Body Javi, or as we know him, Javier Bernal. Now, this was a very interesting match. Now, we know that Big Body Javi has win matches here and there. In Scripps, we know he's a fantastic wrestler. So the obvious thing is what's going to happen. But however, Big Body Javi. As you know, he doesn't have any friends that could back him up, unlike Scripps, who has OTM, Bronco Lima, and Lucian Price at his corner. So that was a big disadvantage for him, but that was also part of the X factor that led for Scripps to pick up the win when he applied some sort of a cartwheel stunner, whatever it was, which was fantastic. So he picked up a good win. So I'm sure Big Body Javi should definitely have some friends over. Now, our next match, we have what's her name? Valentina Feroz taking on Amari Miller. Now, Amari Miller, we haven't seen her for quite some time until she was torn with an ACL. So I have to say, we'll see how much. I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of the ring rust with Amari Miller, but Valentina Feroz, who's determined to go on his own. Now, keep in mind, her tag partner, Yulissa Leon, was released from the company not too long ago, but I have to say, we are seeing her grow up just a little bit. So you probably wouldn't expect her to win, but fantastically, she picked up a good win with a Meteora, and just like that, she picked up the W. Now, NXT's next event will take place in February 4th, I believe, and it's called Vengeance Day. So that's going to be a fantastic match to watch. Now, this is right after New Year's Evil, so mark your calendars. Now, our main event is a very special treat. We have Charlie Dempsey and Drew Gulak teaming up to take on the current NXT Tag Team Champions, Tony D'Angelo and Channing Stack Lorenzo. I have to say, it was a pretty good match. You probably would have presumed that if somehow Gulak and Dempsey picked up a win in this match, they could potentially challenge for the NXT Tag Team titles. But however, once again, Tony D sacrificed the underboss Stacks in order to pick up the win, and then bada bing, bada boom onto Gulak. The D'Angelo family picked up the W. So just like that, it was completely over. So we'll see what happens next week. But right now, let's move on with our last thing, which is, of course, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So let's talk about what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling. First things first, let's talk about some of the updates for upcoming events taking place with various promotions, not only with the major ones, but also in the independents. Our first one is from West Coast Pro with More with Ill Matter that takes place on the 27th of January of 2024. They announced for a trios match. We have El Cucuy teaming up with Los Vipers to take on La Estrella, Aramis, and Iron Kid. So that's going to be an interesting match to watch. Now, GCW, as you know, we have the Nick Gage Invitational 8 that will take place on the 30th of December. However, they already announced who's going to participate in this event. So let me pull up the roster for that. I know I saw it. Okay, so here it is. Those who've been announced, we have John Wayne Murdoch, who won the last one on Nick Gage NGI 7. We have Risa Serra, Daiju Wakamatsu, Emerson Jane, Jacob Fatu, Violento Jack, Jimmy Lloyd, Masha Slavich, and Miro Extremo. So these are the ones who will be participating in this event. Now, before the Nick Gage Invitational 8 takes place, we do have an event from GCW on the 21st, which will be next Thursday for Holiday Special. We have Jordan Oliver taking on John Wayne Murdoch. Now, Prestige Wrestling is announced for the A Moment of violence that takes place on the 25th of February of 2024. They announced that Jordan Grace makes her return to Prestige Wrestling, first time in 5 years. MLW announced for the Kings of the Coliseum that takes place on January 1st of 2024. The MLW Women's Featherweight title will be defended. Janai Kai defends her belt against Tokyo-Joshi Pro Wrestling's very own Hyper Misawa. And then finally, TNA announced for the Hard to Kill event on the 13th of January in 2024. The X Division title will be defended. Chris Sabin defends his title in a three-way match where he takes on, of course, Kushida and Hijo del Vikingo. So that's going to be one hell of a match. I can't wait to see what else is going to happen. Now for upcoming developments that took place as well. This is a very interesting news that came out. You may have heard this already. Liv Morgan has been arrested due to a. This happened on the 14th of December in Somerton County, Florida, after a traffic stop. They found marijuana in her possession, more than 20 grams from what they're saying, and she is currently free out of bail. So hopefully everything turns out okay for her. I'm sure that WWE are going to try to give her some help, or she gets help of her own. I'm sure whatever comes first. Now, speaking of WWE, as you know, Gable Stevenson has been not showing up so much at WWE, but apparently it was reported that he was spotted in Green Bay during some SmackDown tapings. So that's kind of interesting to hear. Now, Lacey Evans, as you know, she was released from the company. She said something after her post WWE Life. Let me pull that up for everyone. Damn it. Well, yeah, this is it. This is what she had to say. I did WWE for 7 years, and it was never my passion. That was never a secret. I was incredibly to see fellow sports entertainer. That is their passion. But I just knew that, I went out there and did the best I could at my job. But I always look forward to coming home. So this is now life for her. She feels like I don't. As you know, she probably didn't like this idea of being with that, but it is what it is. So don't blame her. Now, an interesting development took place. You may have heard. There is seems like some sort of thing going on in pro wrestling in Japan. This is what was announced today. Let me pull that up for you guys. Okay, this is from New Japan. What they posted. The Japanese, the Japan Pro Wrestling Federation is set up a pro wrestling industry organization on May 6, 2024, Monday, a holiday, Nippon Budokan. A commemorative performance and bicrotic operation is planned to be held. On September 15, the establishment of the pro wrestling industry organization United Japan Pro Wrestling was announced. This is a strong recognition of needed for organizations that ununifiedly symbolize pro wrestling industry and success. Regarding of various challenges becoming potential crisis, unprecedented coronavirus, in view of the situation that will become more even diverse in the future, 9 organizations had agreed of the establishment, and those organizations are in fact New Japan, All Japan, Pro Wrestling Noah, DDT Pro Wrestling, Gambari Pro Wrestling, Daihi Pro Wrestling, Dragon Gate, Stardom, and Tokyo Pro Wrestling. There are be others that they did announce that will be looking into the future. Um, that's what's going on. So there's like an organization that's been set up for this kind of thing. I think it's a very smart move. Can't wait to see what else is going to be. So like I said, these they announced 9 of these organizations that'll be part of it. So, but there are further groups that'll be considered in the future. So we will see. Now, finally, as you know, recently Yuka Sakazaki graduated from Tokyo Show Pro Wrestling. Well, apparently she changed her new hairstyle, so I don't know what's the make of that. But here's a picture that I will show right at the end of this, so take a look at it. So you guys tell me, what do you think? But as of right now, let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. First things first, I want to apologize with people. Now, as you know, Ring of Honor already took place, but unfortunately, I was unable to see it. But I will put that on the next episode at some point. There's still some other wrestling shows I haven't seen from the very beginning of this month. That includes Wrestling Revolver, Black Label Pro, Sukeban in Miami, that sort of thing. But Ring of Honor is on the top priority, along with AEW Collision, that I know we're definitely going to do. There's two Tokyo Show Pro Wrestling shows I haven't seen. The Aquarium Pro Wrestling, and of course the graduation of Yuka Sakazaki, and a few others. So we will see how that will progress. But for right now, let's just wait and see what happens after this episode. But for now, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.